Hello and welcome. My name is Mark Chillingworth, and I'm pleased to be the host of this discussion brought to you as a special collaboration between Executive Magazine and ServiceNow. For this conversation, I'll be talking to leaders in AI from both ServiceNow and our special guests, Lloyds Banking Group, about the latest developments in AI and how IT and business leaders can use this technology to develop a modern digital workplace. Firstly, I'll be speaking to Adam Spearing. With a career spanning 3 decades in enterprise technology, Adam joined ServiceNow in 2024 and is now EMEA Head of AI Innovation, where, and amongst his responsibilities, he acts as a trusted advisor to the C-suite across the region. My second guest today is Dr. Rohit Devan, Executive Director and Group Head of AI at Lloyds Banking Group. With a career which has taken him across the globe and includes attaining a PhD in AI, Rohit leads a team of more than 3,000 AI specialists, data engineers, and data scientists, and is responsible for the AI strategy, execution, and roadmap for Lloyds. We'll discuss his role, the bank's ambition, and opportunities, and the practical considerations for senior leaders when implementing AI. Welcome to you both.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Adam, if I can begin with you, ServiceNow is known for being a leader in helping businesses streamline their operations, helping improve workflows and automate processes within that business. Where does AI fit into this, and how are you leading the conversation?
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, and I think this is really so critical for many companies, but none less than ServiceNow, and where we sit in this maze of AI technology and options that are coming at people thick and fast is really, if you strip back what ServiceNow does, we're a workflow engine at heart. And as we start looking at agentic technology and AI, that's where the value of the workflow becomes pretty unique. And the fact that what we were able to do because of our product strategy and that we're still natively built on only one platform, we're able to build our AI technology inside the workflow. So that means when we're having conversations with clients and customers, we're able to kind of put it in the context of automating business, automating workflows, using AI in the workflow rather than trying to add it onto the workflow. And many of our clients and customers who traditionally use us around IT and HR actually start saying to us, wow, so we can use you across every workflow of our business. And that's absolutely true. So it's very much around how we've designed the technology, part design, part a little bit of luck in the way that AI's lit up everybody recently.
We're now beyond that hype cycle for AI. Where are the early success stories in terms of improving those business processes coming in and that you're seeing?
Yeah, so we took a very fundamental and grounded approach to AI when it first came out. We weren't looking to compare apples and oranges and bananas and pears, so we were very much looking within the domain we operate. And so we've seen a lot of our clients, many of whom are referenceable, like British Telecom, who have used us to start their AI journey, doing very fundamental things like improving the generation of knowledge within an organization and improving the client experience and the engagement. And now as we look forward, so those business cases have created confidence, they've created credibility. And now as we look forward, we're seeing those develop and grow within those domains, but then actually start to spawn outside of that. And our Studios technology is allowing clients and customers to do all kinds of creative things on the successes they've already had.
And how are those organizations ensuring that their staff can trust and do trust AI?
So I think this is a very, very important one. And anybody who's listening, who's part of any organization that's going through an AI journey, as I'm sure you all are, trust is the key collateral and capital that we have with everybody here. And there's a lot that we can do in terms of how we set up the governance and the due diligence we do. And I think it's a combination of working with the technologies you've chosen to really understand how they work. The transparency into the models for us has always been something that is really critical. How we train our language model has always been critical. And then the trust comes down to how the users, the employees, the customers, the consumers can actually get the experience they want and actually come to really believe that the technology is delivering value to them and enhancing what they do. Because we've said for a long time that there's just too much effort going in at work, which is redundant manual tasks that frankly drive us all a bit bonkers.
And your colleague, Brian Solis, recently wrote about the difference between iteration and innovation, describing innovation as the creation of net new value. Is that something you're seeing in the leading enterprises you're working with?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Brian's brilliant. And he's right, because if you think about it, we've been on this journey of talking about digitization to digital transformation. And now we're talking about business transformation. And the fundamental difference is here is the opportunity to rethink totally how you perform some of these functions. And that is where there is a big uplift. So it's not doing what you've done better. That's okay, but it'll only take you so far. And it's that creative thought, that process of innovation, of actually rethinking and applying the new technologies to the challenges we've had and readdressing them in different ways is where we're seeing just massive uplift in value to organizations and people.
Rohit, we've heard from Adam about what he's seeing across a number of industries. Now, if I can ask you about the work you're doing at Lloyds. Lloyds Banking Group has set up an AI Centre of Excellence. Tell us how this is helping your banking colleagues embrace and adopt AI.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark. And I agree with everything Adam has said. AI is absolutely a new wave, and we are well beyond the hype cycle. So within Lloyds Banking Group, we have set up a new AI Center of Excellence. And this is a central team that will own the AI strategy, roadmap, and execution for the rest of the organization. The reason why we have set up a AI Center of Excellence is because AI for us is now a main topic area. So AI is not on the sidelines. We want to rally behind AI. We want to put our organizational force behind AI. And we want to make sure that we leverage AI for transformation across the board. Regardless of which business unit you sit in, you should be either thinking about using AI, consuming AI, or building AI yourself for either reimagining a business process or, as Adam said, improving a business process. And hence, a center of excellence ensures that we have the right expertise, the right skills, and we are also prioritizing our initiatives to focus on the most important and the most impactful use cases.
And on that point, is this Centre of Excellence a way to ensure Lloyds Banking Group doesn't adopt AI just to drive down costs, but to create value and services?
Yeah, absolutely. So AI is a vehicle for us to drive incremental value. Now, that incremental value can come from revenue or profitability uplift. It can come from cost optimization. It can come from productivity increase. And what we are seeing is that a lot of the use cases that have shown success are the ones that drive cost optimization and process improvement. The next wave of AI will take us into the realm of customer transformation and marketing transformation, which is where you can use AI for acquiring more customers, upselling, cross-selling, retaining customers through a very different medium, right? Because in the new world, customers will interact with AI directly, whereas in the past, customers have been interacting with AI indirectly, in the sense that AI was a mathematical model that was helping a marketeer or a customer experience journey manager in the background. However, with the advent of generative AI, what we are seeing is that AI is now becoming a channel or a front end where customers can interact with the app or the website in a Q&A manner. So instead of a customer now having to click on multiple links or go through multiple hoops to accomplish a task, they should just be able to ask a question and get the answer and let the AI do the task for them. And hence it becomes a source for value and revenue and profitability, extending beyond the cost optimization that we've already seen a proven value by AI.
And if AI is to succeed, your staff need to trust AI. How are you ensuring that trust, and how is that translating back then to the customer?
Sure. So from a trust perspective, yes, we are absolutely very much focused on responsible AI and ethics. And there's two ways in which we engender trust within AI. One is by educating people. So our colleagues and customers need to be comfortable with the use of AI. And being comfortable with the use of AI means that they need to first understand what AI is, what it can do, what its limitations are, rather than be just skeptical about it or think that AI is going to take my job. No, AI is not necessarily going to take your job. It's actually going to help you do your job better in most circumstances. So we start with education, and hence we have well-defined literacy programs defined for different cohorts within the bank, whether you are a sponsor of an AI initiative, so you might be a senior leader, or you might be a builder or an engineer who's developing AI models, or you are a user of AI. So that's where it all starts. But when we start building AI systems or AI models, we have a really well-defined responsible AI framework which helps us mitigate the risks from the build and development of AI. And as we go through that process, once we mitigate those risks, then it automatically means that the trust in the system is elevated.
So it sounds like AI is more than a technology change for Lloyds Banking Group, but it's actually a way of reshaping value creation, reimagining the values you offer back to your customers. Would that be correct? And how is that being seen by the customer?
So that is 100% correct. Our AI strategy is to help Lloyds reimagine its business. And we do it by looking at how we can fundamentally transform a process, whether it's a customer-facing process, whether it's a colleague process, whether it's a back-office process. And so far, the response has been really positive. So our leaders have really shown excitement, enthusiasm to be part of this journey. They have signed up for executive-level courses that we have designed in collaboration with Cambridge University. And we are creating an environment or a system where they can use the tools and the mechanisms to think about, in the new world of AI, what can we do differently and completely differently, right? Like, start with a blank sheet of paper. At the same time, our early testing shows that customers are also quite keen to embrace AI. When you give customers a chatbot or a Q&A interface instead of a traditional app, they really show enthusiasm for using that technology because it saves them time, it saves them effort. The AI system understands the context of the customer, and more importantly, it retains the memory. So the AI system or the AI agent has the history and the background of previous customer conversations, which obviously will save a lot of frustration for customers who are asking for the same question or for the same solution again and again.
I have a personal confession. I'm a 36-year-long Lloyds Banking customer, and I'm starting to see what Rohit's talking about, and I'm very excited because I can see the other side of what they're planning as well, and it's genuinely coming through in my experience with Lloyds as well.
And if I may just bring it back in-house a little bit more now, Rohit, what does it mean for the senior leadership? We hear from the recruitment firms that there is demand for the chief AI officer. Are those organizations who are at the cutting edge of AI bringing their AI leaders into the boardroom?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they are, but not every organization is as enlightened as Lloyds Banking Group. I think Lloyds have a senior leadership team that are really tech savvy, and a lot of our leaders actually have a background in technology. So they understand the power of technology and the fact that technology is a disruptor in the industry. Organizations that don't really understand that organizations will be disrupted with AI will become laggards. So for the enlightened ones, they are absolutely investing in new AI leadership roles like a chief AI officer or a group head of AI, and they are establishing AI centers of excellence. And the rest of the organizations are playing catch up.
In fact, your CEO was recently reported in all the major news outlets, wasn't he, talking at great length about technology, which is great. Adam, you talk to a lot of leaders, a lot of organizations. What are you seeing around that chief AI officer role?
I think Rohit nailed it, actually. I think the more mature, enlightened organizations are seeing the importance of this role. And Rohit and I had never met each other till a couple of months ago. And we seem to be having lots of regular conversations, which is great. And we're not the only technology that Lloyds Bank are using, right? But the responsibility of this chief AI officer is very, very broad because, and it's different in different organizations because there is the whole governance, there's the whole risk thing to think about. Then there's the technology to think about, and there's the innovation and the change and the transformation. So I think it's a very important role because this technology, we've had waves of technology change, but this one is one of the biggest pivots. And like you said earlier, Mark, I've been doing this a very long time. And they're one of the biggest technology pivots we've seen. And I think that people who haven't got that role really, really need to think about why and should we be considering it, and talk to some of the people who are doing the role, because the impact that people like Rohit are having in organizations that I talk to is measurable, absolutely measurable.
Pioneer adopting organizations are finding that this technology democratizes innovation, allowing everyone from the board to the branch to innovate. Are you seeing that? How is it enabling organizations to do that innovation piece that we talked about at the top of the show?
Yeah, and I think this is one of the most important things, the potential with AI, because the technology is the technology. It will tumble forward, it'll evolve, it'll do stuff we've never even thought of yet in the next 6 to 12 months. But if you think about organizational structure and innovation and how innovation happens, yes, you get some clever chief exec she's had a great idea. We need to go left instead of right or whatever. And the organization pivots. But actually, some of the fundamental knowledge of the challenges the organizations have sits on the people who are doing the doing. And the reason they can't help make the change, because most of us, let's be honest, most of us care about the company we work for. And the reason they can't help is because they're bogged down and burdened by a routine series of tasks that they don't have airtime to do the proactive. So if this first phase of AI, and the potential is huge, but if this first phase of AI is we're freeing up people to do what people do well, which is create and innovate and collaborate, then you can start to see that innovation feed up as well as down within the organizations. And organizations will make better decisions, much more centered around their employees, their partners, their customers, their consumers, whoever it is that their stakeholders are. And I think it's going to allow an unleashing of innovation. So the fact that we're going to see more and more tasks freed up is one thing, but I'm interested to see how global GDP improves because of our ability to do more with what's up here, not what we put down in our hands on the keyboard.
Rohit, how are you enabling that democratization of innovation across Lloyd's?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I also believe that AI and innovation go hand in hand because to think about how you can leverage the new AI, which is generative AI, you need to think innovatively. And innovation, as we discussed, right, means reimagining a business process, fundamentally transforming what you do today. And that will also mean, a change in roles and responsibilities and how we go to market, how we shape our customers' value propositions and our products and offerings. So for me, innovation is not a standalone department or a function within an organization. We need to get to a point where, as we democratize AI, like give people, the tools and technology to build and consume AI, we also need to democratize innovation, which means that we need to get people into the innovation mindset, give them the mechanisms, the tools, train them on innovation so that they can apply the AI. And that's what we're doing in Lloyd's as well. So we very quickly realized that giving people the AI tools is not good enough. We also need to show them or teach them by way of an example how they can rethink or reimagine their business process with technology at the back of their mind, and then come up with a solution hypotheses, right, that can turn into something, that is innovative. And a lot of the innovation that AI will bring will be experimental, given one, AI technology or the new AI technology is very new. And second, AI is not a magic bullet, right? So building an AI system is not like building a billing system, right? So the outputs will be still unpredictable. And hence the process of deploying an AI model or an AI system is quite nonlinear. So you need to be agile. You need to have a product-oriented mindset. You need to work backwards from the needs of the customer. And you need to bring a whole initiative together that combines AI, front-end transformation, the back-end, and how do you build the architecture to scale that innovation in the longer term?
There's a second part to that topic, isn't it? Is you're enabling these people to innovate. Sometimes they're not technology experts, they're customer experts or product experts, as you say. How do you, at the same time, protect the bank? Because they could quite accidentally release some data, some customer data, particularly in banking, is so valuable. How do you ensure that is protected as well and not trample on any innovation?
Yeah, that's a really good point. We have a two-speed governance model, right? Where, you give certain power in the hands of people where governance is not necessarily required. And this is mainly for personal productivity tasks. But where you are building something that will touch a system within the bank or requires integration of multiple systems, then you need to feed your use case or your initiative through our governance process, which means that the initiative should be aligned with our architectural standards. It should go through our data and ethics risk committee. It should follow our responsible AI and software development lifecycle, and any other checks and balances that are needed to bring that solution to life. So we need to strike the right balance between democratizing AI across the organization versus having a central capability that helps accelerate those use cases. We don't want to introduce bureaucracy and undue process and become a bottleneck for people to be able to execute, but we want to help them self-serve on the governance. So ultimately create tools and mechanisms where they can come to us, but not necessarily wait for a person or a resource to help them. They can use the tools and the accelerators and the IP to their advantage, and only come to forums and meetings when it's required.
Adam, can I come back to you on that? Because you must see some similarities.
I take my hats off to what Rohit's doing, because I'm a huge fan, and I think the balance between that protection of the bank and the enablement of the bank at the same time is a beautiful balance they've struck. And AI and governance like this, because it's way beyond traditional IT governance, right? AI governance is much bigger, it's much more vast, and done well, it's an absolute enabler. Because if you try and bolt it on afterwards, you're going to really struggle. Put it in place in the way Rohit's described here, and actually things can flow really fast. So we talk about the ideation and the innovation. The innovation will hit a roadblock if we don't have the right structure of governance as he described there. So I think for any organization that's out there, much like we talked about the Chief AI Officer, getting this right, learning from others that are leading with this is something that will help UK PLC improve overall and our global position. So I think it's a very, very, very important thing that Lloyds are doing there.
And are you seeing that in other sectors? Is there a good groundswell of this?
So I think it's funny, because traditional adoption of new technology is often led by the business value. So, everybody knows people in finance have lots of money and they spend lots of money, but we're seeing this across all industries, okay? We're seeing, and it's not so much the industry, it's more those that are the thought leaders in that industry, those are the innovators in that industry, are the ones who are leaning in. So I'm talking to car manufacturers, pharmaceutical companies, tremendous banking organizations, and all of them can see the potential, and it materializes in different ways depending on how they structure how they service their clients, what their cost structures are, what their profitability models are, etc. But they can all see value in this. So I think it's less to do with the industry you're in. I think it's more to do with your attitude to innovation as an organization. And the innovators are the ones who are capitalizing on this. And actually, if you're one of those that's in the middle, I would encourage you to be in the forward group, because the rate of change of this technology means the gap is going to get bigger. So there is a FOMO kind of thing, which we saw a little while ago. Now organizations have got their heads around it. I think you've got to get on board with it, because this is just such an enabler.
And building on that, Rohit, delivering good personalization is a competitive advantage, particularly in financial services. Tell us how Lloyds Banking Group is using AI or planning to use AI to increase that vital personalization to offer its customers.
Yeah, completely agree. So personalization is a key theme for us, as it is for any B2C organization, even B2B organization. So any consumer-oriented organization wants to win with personalization, because the more you personalize your products and offerings and interactions with the customer, the more likely it is that the customer will retain their affinity towards you. So from a Lloyd's perspective, look, we've been using AI for personalization for more than a decade, I would say, right? But personalization is also evolving as AI has evolved. So in the past, personalization was based on number crunching or fitting a customer record or customer interactions through a mathematical model. And the mathematical model will segment or classify the customers in different groups, and it will give you a score in terms of a propensity, where you can understand, what's the likelihood of a customer to buy certain things or react to certain propositions, or to sign up for a specific product. Now, in the new world of AI, which is being led by new generative AI technology, personalization will look very, very different. Now, personalization also encompasses how you personalize the customer experience, not just personalize the offer. So if you combine the personalization of how you interact with the customer, which is, the right place, the right time, relevance and context, with the offer that you make to the customer, which is the product, with the right gain, with the right intent, with the right price, and with the most, relevant proposition. Generative AI now has the potential to combine all of this into one single journey and interact with the customer in a way that is not just personalized, but also individualized. And I'll explain what that means. So imagine having access to a individual financial advisor because you are a high net worth customer or you are a premium banking customer. Now, the relationship manager that you have access to can perform a number of tasks for you. They can help you open a new bank account. They can guide you on your finances. They can give you insights on your transactions. They can help you increase your credit limit, so on and so forth. Now, there's only a few privileged people who've got access to that level of personalization where you have a dedicated relationship manager assigned to you. But for the vast majority of us, we don't necessarily have access to a relationship manager. But with generative AI, you can have an agent who can act as your companion and coach and help you perform several tasks. And they can give you insights on your transactions. They can help you open a new account. They can help you fill up forms. They can also give you advice. And ultimately, they can also nudge you to take up a specific product that may be relevant to you and may be valuable to you. And hence, the agent is now your personalized financial buddy or your personalized financial coach. And this is a very different proposition than, you having a neural network model running in the background that's creating a propensity for people to buy or respond to something. Because in this case, your agent is only associated with you as an individual entity. So it's personalization at the level of one. And hence, I call it personalization, but also individualization, because your agent has your data. It understands your context. It understands what you've done in the past. So it's got memory, and it acts in an unbiased way to give you the best outcome.
And the pace of change of AI is incredible. How does an organization like Lloyds Banker Group partner and co-design the AI outcomes with its technology partners, providers like ServiceNow?
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? So to be successful, any large organization has to exploit their ecosystem. And that means you need to collaborate with your vendors, suppliers, and other ecosystem partners like fintechs and universities. So we've got partnerships with our vendors like ServiceNow, and we've had a really strong strategic relationship with ServiceNow where we have collaboratively delivered an AI platform where you can now use a Q&A style chatbot to get an answer to a question rather than the chatbot pointing you to a specific link. So it gives you an answer right away on HR policies and a number of other different policies that are sort of hidden in the Lloyd's SharePoint and other tools, including ServiceNow. Getting that access to information without having to dig through it and explicitly find something is a huge win, because it just saves a lot of time. And like Adam said, right, you can really get to the point and get people to then elevate their roles at a higher level of productivity. So I think partnerships are really important, because the rate at which our partners can innovate is just phenomenal, right? Because our partners are building things that are built once but used for a range of industries, for a range of customers, and hence that investment looks very different from how we invest, right? Which is only Lloyd specific. So if you're not exploiting the technology that's coming through from the partner ecosystem and you're building everything, then you'll be here forever, right? And someone else will build it much faster than you can.
And we've heard a great deal of late about safeguards around AI from summits, from vendors, from the banking sector, and from governments. How are you guaranteeing to your customers and your colleagues that the AI deployments that you're carrying out come with the safeguards that will protect them?
Sure. So safeguards are really important in the new world of AI, because the new AI often hallucinates, which means that the output of the models may not be what you expect. They may not be accurate, or they may be completely off the chart in terms of the response. So there's two ways we are implementing the safeguards. One is, as I mentioned before, we have a well-formed responsible AI assurance methodology. So as we build and deploy models, our models are tested for guardrails and controls, which ensures that they are safe, they don't hallucinate, they don't provide misinformation, they are secure, and they are free of bias. So we've got a range of metrics that we measure the model against before we put anything out to the customer. The second way in which we do this is just being transparent with the customer. So whenever a customer is using our AI model, we will tell them this is an AI model, right? So they know what they're interacting with. And we will also make sure that the customer is aware that the output of the AI model may not be absolutely accurate. It's based on certain pieces of information or data that the AI model has picked up from those data sources that are then cited or referenced in terms of the response. And that will give our customers and our colleagues or whoever the user of the AI system is a lot more confidence, right? Because they can, track the outcome, back to a source. And ultimately it's, the concept of human in loop, right? So the AI model is giving you a response or an outcome, but it's been double checked or verified by a human being, whether, that's an internal colleague within Lloyd's or whether it's a customer themselves.
Adam, anything you'd add? Because the safeguarding issue is so important, both for suppliers and customers, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think Rohit's approach to this is absolutely right, and I think you've got to be very serious about it. It plays back to what we said about trust earlier, and some of the technology that we are now providing to clients is around that ability to do observability into the language models. So what are they actually doing? Where are they going? How are they performing? What are the decisions they're making? And when we move forward into agentics, you need that observability into what the agent's doing and which agent's connecting to what agent, and why is that agent passing this on to that agent? So that observability, I think, is critically important. And in some ways, it is a technology like others where, we can monitor it like we do monitor other technology, but it's having the visibility and then knowing what you're doing purposefully, explaining it to people, being transparent with it and looking at it that I think makes the biggest difference to your own trust in it, because Rohit mentioned human in the loop, and knowing where at what level to have that is critical. And the more you've got trust in the model, the better you can make that autonomous decision making of an agentic system.
So Rohit, finally, what does the future look like? Because there's no end point with this technology. You've already said yourself how quickly it's developing. What are the principles that you're following when thinking about each and next iteration?
I think the future is very much agentic, and Adam touched upon this. And I also think ServiceNow is really well positioned to exploit agents, given ServiceNow really understands workflows, right? And what we are looking at is introducing agents into the workflow, right? So I believe that the future will be picking up a process, thinking about, how do you AIfy the process in a way that you get, savings of, time, productivity, automation, and at times reimagination as well. So every single process, I believe, will be AI impacted or AI influenced in the future. That's what the future looks like. There will not be a process in any large organization that won't have an element of AI. And there will not be a customer-facing application without elements of AI. And this is not far in the future. I'm talking probably 12 months or 18 months from now.
Adam and Rohit, where can people go to learn more about the innovations in AI that you're working on and follow that work?
There's a range of different sources, right? Like personally, I do a combination of, talking to people like yourselves and, learning from my peers at industry events, forums, and I listen to a lot of podcasts as well. I think that's one of the great sources of information. But other than that, it also makes sense to train yourself technically in AI, because ultimately AI is a technology, right? So you can think of AI as a transformation lever. You can think of AI as a source of change and learning and upskilling. But ultimately, if you don't understand the technology behind AI, then you will not necessarily know how to apply it within the context of your business or your function. So technical training on AI is important, and there's a range of courses available now. Whether you look at one of the large learning providers like Coursera, Udemy, or you associate yourself with one of the AI companies like Google, Microsoft, AWS, so on and so forth. But there's a range of learning that you can do depending on how deep you want to get into AI, and that begs the question, whether are you a developer of AI, are you going to be a user of AI, or are you going to be the sponsor of an AI initiative or an AI function?
Adam, where can people keep up with your work?
I think Rohit's points are all absolutely perfect, and I think everybody needs to, self-reinvention has never been more important with this AI technology. So take the responsibility. There's lots of independent learning sources for people to go and learn at. We as ServiceNow, we have a knowledge event every year. There's replays and dial-ins. You can learn a huge amount about what we're doing. We have self-training environments where you can go and learn and practice. And I think organizationally, you also need to be really conversant on where the technologies you use are going. So, we make sure we spend time with Rohit and the Lloyd's team to explain our roadmap so they can compare them against other roadmaps, so then they can make active decisions. And that's a constant journey of learning at a technology level as well as at the capability level. And I think anybody who's on this podcast, if you know somebody you think, actually, they'll benefit from listening to this, forward it on, help them out, get them on the journey, because if we all get on this together, it's going to give us all a lift, right? And I think it's a terrific opportunity, this technology, to really change how we work and what we do.
Rohit Devan and Adam Spearing, thank you for sharing your insights with us, and have a good day.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks.